There are things hidden at the bottom of the ocean that, if fully revealed, would drive any human being insane. Not just because they are big, but why they violate everything we understand as reality, life, and the limits of nature. Imagine staring into the abyss, and to feel the abyss look back. Imagine realizing that there's something down there so colossal, so ancient, and so disproportionate, that your brain simply refuses to accept that this could exist. What you're about to see, it's not just mythology, it's not just fiction. They are records, sounds, shadows, distortions in the ocean that have never been fully explained. And maybe they were never meant to be explained, because there are entities in the depths that they were not created for human eyes. And if you look for too long, I may never be able to forget. Take a deep breath, because some of these creatures, the human mind simply could not bear to see it. If you're already curious about this topic, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for even more surprising facts. In the next few minutes, you'll meet 5 marine entities so colossal that the human mind simply wasn't designed to process their existence. Get ready, because after this video, you'll never look at the sea the same way again. Imagine being in a submarine, descending deeper and deeper. The sunlight fades, the sonar begins to pulse, and then you detect something on the radar. Too big to be a school of fish, too heavy to be a whale, too deep to be real, but it's there. For centuries, sailors have told stories, legends that have spanned generations, monsters that lived where the light doesn't reach. And then modern technology began to pick up signals, sounds, movements, gigantic masses that shouldn't exist. It sounds like mythology, but what you're about to see is recorded in scientific archives, historical accounts, and some recordings that have never been fully explained. The ocean covers 70% of the planet, but we only know 5% of it. The rest is uncharted territory, more mysterious than outer space. And the question that remains is simple. If we've already found bizarre creatures in the areas we've explored, what might exist where we've never been? Today, you will find out. Because these 5 entities that we are going to present share something in common. They challenge the limits of what biology considers possible. Let's begin. If the biblical Leviathan was already considered the ultimate monster, the digital age has created something worse, a transcendent version, expanded, impossible, O gargantuan Leviathan. Now pay attention to these numbers. 1 to 1.5 kilometers in length. Extreme versions suggest up to 5 kilometers. Think about it for a second. 5 kilometers. A blue whale, the largest known animal, is 30 meters long. This monster would be 166 times larger. He doesn't swallow fish. He swallows whole whales as if they were plankton. But wait, does that really exist? There is no confirmed physical record. But 3D modelers and cryptozoologists claim that the proportions were based on undisclosed ocean measurements, anomalies detected by military sonar, and unexplained underwater vortices. If something like that inhabits the abyssal trenches, it wouldn't be a monster. It would literally be a submerged god. Would you dare to dive knowing that something like this could be right below you? Now imagine you are a Greek sailor, 8th century BC. You are sailing through the Strait of Messina between Italy and Sicily, and then you realize there's no way out. On one side, Scylla. On the other, Charybdis. Scylla, the 6-headed creature. Once, she was a nymph, beautiful, innocent, but she was cursed and transformed into something hideous. 6 reptilian heads, 12 serpentine tentacles, 103 meters tall. She hid among the rocks. She waited, And when the ships passed, she grabbed the crew members one by one and devoured them alive. On the other side, something even worse. Charybdis, the breathing abyss. A creature that swallowed and expelled tons of seawater every few minutes, creating gigantic whirlpools. Estimates suggest a diameter of 150 meters. Vortices with a force equivalent to tens of tons of pressure. If you chose Scylla, you would be torn to pieces. If you chose Charybdis, you would be sucked to the bottom of the sea. This choice gave rise to the expression between a rock and a hard place. Two horrors, no way out. If you were in that boat, which way would you row? Japan, 1954. 9 years after Hiroshima and Nagasaki were devastated by atomic bombs. And then Godzilla is born. But this is not just a work of fiction. This is a part that few people know. The original concept was inspired by accounts from Japanese fishermen who sighted colossal shadows in the ocean during nuclear tests in the Pacific. Immense masses, movements underwater, shapes that did not correspond to any catalogued animal. In fiction, Godzilla is 120 meters tall, weighs 90,000 tons, has scales as dense as steel, and an atomic breath capable of melting cities. But the symbolism is clear. Godzilla is not just a monster. It is nature responding to human arrogance. It's the ocean saying, "You played with forces you don't understand. Now face the consequences." Scholars argue that underwater radar has detected giant creatures in atomic test zones. Creatures that have never been officially catalogued. Do you think the radiation might have awakened something in the depths? Middle Ages, Christian manuscripts. Sailors report a creature known as Aspidoculone, a mix between a whale and a turtle. But it wasn't ordinary. It was so big, it looked like an island. Description from the accounts: shell covered in sand, vegetation, and even trees. Over 200 meters long, hundreds of tons. Now imagine the scene. You've been browsing for weeks, tired, hungry, and then he spots an island. You dock, you set up camp, you light a fire to cook, and then the island sinks. In seconds, everything sinks. Boats, men, supplies, no one survives. In Christian symbolism, Aspidoculone represented deadly temptation, the deception that attracts and then destroys. How many ships that disappeared throughout history might have docked with something living? 1997, South Pacific Ocean. NOAA, the United States Ocean Agency, records something disturbing. A sound. But it wasn't an ordinary sound. It was detected by sensors more than 5,000 kilometers away. Think about it. 5,000 kilometers. That's more than the distance between Brazil and Europe. Initial analysis by scientists. If this sound was produced by an animal, it would have to be much larger than a blue whale. Estimates indicate a length of approximately 215 meters, body mass equivalent to hundreds of tons. The official theory today? It was just ice breaking off in Antarctica, but experts point out inconsistencies. The frequency of the sound is too organic to be ice. The sound pattern suggests breathing or biological vocalization. You can hear this sound on the internet. But they say the original recording was intentionally softened to avoid causing panic. Because if something of that size exists in the depths, we are sharing the planet with an entity we shouldn't know about. Would you dare to listen to the original, unfiltered recording? Now answer me this: why do these creatures scare us so much? It's not just about the size, it's because they represent something we've lost: primal fear. The feeling that we are not the masters of the planet. For millennia, humankind dominated the land. But the ocean has always been their territory. And perhaps these legends exist for a reason. Perhaps they are warnings. Warnings that there are places we shouldn't go, depths we shouldn't explore, and creatures that we shouldn't awaken. What if, at this very moment, in the abyssal trenches of the Pacific, something colossal is gliding through the darkness? Something that has never been filmed, something that sonar detects, but that scientists prefer to ignore. What if the bloop was just the beginning? So now I ask you, if you could dive to the bottom of the ocean and see one of these creatures with your own eyes, would you have the courage? Leave a comment below. Would I dive or would I never? If this video intrigued you, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications, because there's a lot more mystery coming soon. And you share it with that friend who loves the ocean, but maybe they'll change their mind after that video. What if I told you there's an ancient prophecy about a serpent so large it encircles the entire planet? And when she wakes up, the world as we know it will end. Don't miss the next videos for more interesting facts about creatures that defy logic.